live from Japan. It is Thursday, July 26th, and this is Stark Raving Totals. Welcome to the segment where we talk about totals across the board. Not a lot of action going out there today. Not a lot going on. We got some baseball games coming up here. I got one pick on the card. But honestly, the card I think is pretty tough today. So, I went over pretty much every game. Some big numbers out there, like on the Boston game and the Texas game. Odds makers aren't messing around today. But the issue today also is there's a lot of, mid-tiered pitchers going. So I thought the numbers were pretty tough. We did drop our last game. We had that under with the Dodgers game, the Phillies game. They ended up going at 8 at a bunch of extra innings, and then Philadelphia pulled it out. I thought the call was pretty good. It was 3-1 going into the 6th, so I felt pretty good about the call. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for us. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, maybe if you had the under in the first 5 innings, I think you were a winner or you pushed. I'd have to double check that. But for me, it was a loser. It's just sometimes it doesn't work out. So hopefully we'll get one today. I think that's about it. SBRpicks.com, Sportsbook review, main webpage, new main webpage. Don't forget our Facebook page as well. YouTube channel, that's this. A lot of cool stuff. Of course, more segments are coming up. We got, I think we have CFL today, maybe or maybe not, but definitely Jimmy and Pete shows. So you got to check that out. And then we'll be back this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Definitely tune in because I got some things I want to talk to you guys about. So please tune in to those, especially Sundays. Tune into that one for sure. And I think that's about it. Let's get to a pick here. Stark Raving Totals. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. But I want to talk to you guys this weekend because there's going to be some changes that we need to talk as a family. We need to sit down and have a discussion. Such a serious tone. All right, so you guys are coming in. You come in and give awesome comments. Here's our pick. All right, so first of all, a real quick look at the card. Games I'm not looking at. I looked at, we got Suarez versus Molly, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, big number, 9.5. Who knows how it's going to turn out. My boy Tommy Malone coming back for Washington. He gets a start today. Former major leaguer gets his first major league start today. The little left-hander. He's kind of sneaky good. His overall career numbers are not bad. ERA hovering around 4. Takes on Dan Straley. That line's got from 8 to 8.5. I kind of like the under because it's his first major league start back. I think he pitches well against a Miami team that can struggle at times. What else we got? We had Hill versus Sanchez. That's going to be a pretty good matchup later. The lines drop from 9 to 8.5. That makes sense. That actually makes sense. Hill has been less than stellar this year at times, though. Milwaukee, we got Miley versus Rodriguez. Lines at 8. That's just perfect number set by odds makers. I have no idea how that game's going to unfold. Tampa Bay, Baltimore. Got Wood versus Cobb. Cobb seems to have been pitching a little bit better recently. He had a really bad start to the year. I personally like the guy. I liked him when he was at Tampa Bay. Lines at 9. Baltimore can't hit. I would lean on the under, but I think it's kind of a hard game to predict. Then we got Kansas City, New York later on with Junis and Gray. 9.5 seems just about right. I think that's a bit too much. Sonny Gray is actually starting to pick it up. If you've noticed that, his last few starts, he's pitching for the most part better. Minnesota, Boston, big number like I mentioned already. That's at 10 with Gibson versus Johnson. Seems like too much, but Boston, it's so hard to bet the under at home when they're in Boston. And then later on, after that, an hour after that, you got Oakland versus Texas. Huge number with Bartolo disrespecting the big man. 11.5. Gone down to 11. And Trevor Cahill, his numbers aren't that bad. 2 wily veterans. Man, that's a lot of runs. Maybe they get there. I don't know. It's not in Colorado, but man, I mean, Arlington's a hitter's park. It's one of the best ones, as far as park factors. Man, 11? Whew. I'd have to lean towards the over, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a chump bet right there. All right, so let's get to our game. So we got the Mets versus Pittsburgh. Got Mets versus Kingham. So I dug into this one for a little bit. It started out at 8.5. I thought that was a little bit too much, but the fact that odds makers came out with bigger juice on the under makes sense. Now, I like Mets. I think he's a quality major league pitcher. So recently, he has not pitched very well. He's given up 8 runs his last 2 starts in 11 innings, 17 hits. This is what I like. I like the fact that he did not pitch well at New York. It was his worst outing, arguably, of the season. And out of his last 10, it's the most hits he's giving up 9 hits. I think he comes in and pitches really well. His numbers on the road are okay. They're not great. His whip's a little high at 1.4. He's already pitched against Pittsburgh. He pitched okay, gave up 3 earned runs in 7 innings. But, 1.29 whip on the year. And another thing, Pittsburgh, and I don't really get into this lefty righty thing, but a lot of people really like it. I don't really care so much about that. But, I mean, you do have to look into the statistics. Pittsburgh, their numbers really do change. They hit 255 on the season. It drops down to 240. They're second worst in the NL hitting against lefties as far as average is concerned, hitting just 245. Their last 3 games, though, they've been really swinging the bats well, hitting 284 as a team. I think Matz does well enough. I think pitching in Pittsburgh is not going to be a big issue for him. I think he pitches well enough to go ahead and keep them in check. Although he did face him at the end of June, I think he pitches well enough today. I think so. I'm going under, as you could tell. It's gone down to 8. It's still 8.5 at some places. If you can get him at 8.5, I say go for it. For me, I'm going to go ahead and just say 8 because it's like half and half right now, depending on what book you got. So I'm going to go under the 8 here. You look at Kingham. That's what I like about him. First of all, he's pitched decent. His 10 starts. This season. What I really like is his whip, 1.11. 4.11 ERA, not great, but 1.11 whip, I'll take that. And I like the fact he's got a 0.90 whip at home, 2.90 ERA. Another issue is, you look at him over his last few starts, his last 4 starts. Well, he pitched pretty well against Philadelphia, but he's had a couple rough outings, but pretty good hitting teams. Like, he didn't pitch that well against the Dodgers, who can friggin' hit sometimes. That team can really hit sometimes. And then, Milwaukee got to him a little bit. Both of those teams are much better hitting teams than the Mets. The Mets right now, their last 3 games, they've been terrible. They're hitting 216. They're just not a very good hitting team. They're hitting 227 on the year. They do hit better on the road. They hit about 240 on the road. But I think Kingham is good enough to do well enough to keep him to a reasonable number. So I'm going to go back the under here. I just don't see either of these teams just breaking out the bats today and scoring a lot of runs. I think it's going to be actually a really low scoring affair, like a 2-1 sort of final. I think it's going to be stupid. So I think there's value on the under. I like it. I don't love it. No WNBA today. They're getting ready for the All-Star game. Plus money value, WNBA. Sky beating the Mercury. Jeez, I'm telling you, man. Plus money value in the WNBA. Way to go. So for us today, Mets, Pittsburgh going under the 8. I just don't see them getting there. So it's baseball. It's crazy. We're still in the positive in baseball, but just barely. I'm up like maybe 2 units. It has not been great. And we're just past the midway point. But if you remember last season, this is where we really started to pick it up. Like the last 3 months of the year, we hit it at a 60% clip. That's all documented. So I think this is, and I feel pretty good actually with my hand. Like I feel like, I don't feel like I'm dialed in, but I feel like I'm reading things correctly. Now, if it works out, it works out because it's sports. But at least I like how I feel as far as my handicapping is concerned. So I like the end of the day that New York. It's not a lock by any means, but personally for me, I'm putting a unit on it on the under. I think it's a good play, and that's gonna be it for me today. Just a 1 play. There's just not a lot of interesting action out there today either. That's it. What do you guys got for me? Probably a pretty short segment today. Just not a lot of fun games really going on. So you guys are coming in. Marco, haven't seen your show live for a couple weeks. Well, that's on you because we've been live while we've been traveling. Marco, hope all is well. I hear Japan is suffering through some really bad heat. Well, and also with Japan, also the issue is it's a all year round school. So kids are still going to school, and a lot of schools don't have air conditioning. It's brutal. Actually, know a lot of people involved with the Japanese educational system, and it's brutal. It's brutal. They don't get all the little amenities that we have at our wonderful USA schools. And there's been actually like a couple, or I know one for sure, like children that have died because they're out playing or doing something stupid in this ridiculous heat, and a kid collapsed and died. Heat exhaustion. It's absolutely stupid. The issue is the humidity. So when I go to California, most places in California, it's hot, but it's dry. It's a different sort of heat. Here, it's actually we have a thunderstorms coming in tomorrow. It's kind of the rainy season, but it's hot, not as hot as like a place like California per se, but it's so humid. It just really can wear on you. Yeah, it's been pretty bad. Gary, what's shaking in Japan? I just said. What else we got here? Marco on the under 8.5 Pirates Mets. Good, me too. On the under 9 with the White Sox and the Angels. I don't know about that one. What is it right now? 2-1, and they're in the second inning. They need to stop scoring for you there. We'll see how that works out for you. Bella, need Arizona. Run line. Looking good. Okay. I like that Arizona team. Marco, A's Rangers under 11. I know A's batting and Rangers pitching. This should be an easy over bet, but I think this is the only under for this series. It is a lot of runs, man. 11's no joke. But sometimes in Arlington, man, they can really hit. Gary, Cobb is awful, bro. It'll go over. Yeah, he's well. Let me tell you what I mean with Cobb. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. I like him, man. He pitched really well for Tampa Bay. His career numbers: a 3.82 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. It's just this year. But okay, no, I'm right. You look at his last 2 starts. He's given up 3 earned runs in 11 innings. That's not bad at all, and only 1 home run. So he's been good in his last 2 starts. Prior to that, he gave up 5 earned at Minnesota. He gave up 3 earned at Philadelphia. He gave up 5 earned versus Seattle. Then he's been off and on at Atlanta. 1 earned run, 4 hits, 7 innings. That's a pretty good Atlanta hitting team. Then the 2 games prior to that, Toronto, Miami got lit up. I think he's a good major league pitcher. He's just having a tough season. It happens. I would not say he's awful at all. He is 30 years old. I think he's a good major league pitcher. He's just having a bad year. And it happens. Don't sleep on him, man. Don't sleep on him. You might be right. I mean, he is having a tough year, but I would not say he's awful. And Gary, Oakland will smoke Texas if I could speak. Yeah, we'll see. A lot of runs, and hard to go against Bartolo. Mr. Gogster, I really like the Phillies tonight. All right. Good luck, Marco. I will sweat the game out or just go to sleep because it will go over by the 3rd inning. Carlos, let's get down here. Cologne equals full game over 11. Okay, Marco with Strasburg out for the Nats. I think now is the time to put money on the Nats to win the NL East. They're down in the dumps like the Dodgers were, but they have just enough talent to win. Yeah, they probably get some pretty good value on that as well. They definitely have the talent to win. And I like Martinez. I think he's a fine manager. I think he's okay. Greer, CFL today. Yes, maybe the under tonight. Okay, Marco, Charles, can you tell the big man on campus to also document his record like you do? I don't really speak to him personally. So I can't tell him. I live in Japan. I don't even know where he lives. So remember, for SBR, we're all over the globe. It's an international company, and Pete and Jimmy, I've never really even spoken to them face to face. I've spoken with Pete a couple times, just to say hi. While during a studio, while they're getting things set up, Pete will be in the background. I'll just say hi to him. But big man, I don't know. So you tell him, Marco. You tell him. And also for me, I'm not 100% accurate. I know I'm up 2 units in Major League Baseball. I really would have to go over it. And WNBA, I'm up as well, but it's by nothing extravagant at all. I think it's important that we do that for transparency and honesty. So, at the beginning of Major League Baseball, I was terrible. I was 4-10. It was awful. But then I went on a 5-game winning streak. Then I lost one. Then I won a couple. Then I lost a couple. It's been really it's been tough, man. It's been a really tough season so far. For me, personally, it's been fine because I'm Japanese baseball. I'm just rolling, man, with Japanese baseball. It's been great. And WNBA has been okay. And personally, I've been doing fine. But it's on here, unfortunately, it's not doing as well. The picks I have on here, or when I put anything with Jimmy and Pete show, has not been doing as well as I would like it to. But that's just handicapping. Some months are like that. Let's see. And okay, Gary, CFL, I like the over in I'm guessing the Edmonton game, the education game. Love those typos. Mr. McOxer, nice calling to Hiroshima. Okay. Yeah, they have been rolling of late. They won again yesterday. They put up 5 in the first inning. Going to be a great series they got going on starting today versus Yokohama. Yokohama now is healthy. and they won the Central League last year, beating Hiroshima in the Central Division to go up to the Japanese series, and then they lost to SoftBank, I believe, if I remember correctly. But that Yokohama team's no joke. So that's going to be a great series. They got 2 good pitchers going tonight. That's going to be a really fun one. But Hiroshima, yeah. I'm trying to go see them live. They're about 3 hours by bullet train from where I'm at. So I'm trying to go. I have a friend who lives in Hiroshima. He says tickets are almost impossible to get because it's just, I mean, it's packed every game. So I'm trying really hard to go see them. Super hot, yeah. Marco, Charles, the NFL Week 1 numbers are out. Any game intrigue? Marco, I'm not an NFL handicapper. I've said this before. Marco, if you want to make money, big money in NFL, here's the secret. Any play I make, fade it. Easy money. I'm the worst NFL handicapper on the planet. I'm terrible. Really bad. The only thing I usually play is the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And I'll just take the underdog on the plus money line. That's it. It's not really science. I'm terrible at NFL. College football, though, I'm okay. And college basketball, that's my bread and butter. Francisco, I'm having a bad feeling about your announcement. Well, we'll talk about that. Greg, Phillies and Braves today. I like Milwaukee. Okay. Gary Avery. Cobb, not Coob. Cobb is making the coin now is good. He is wicked bad. Yeah, like I just said, though, he's pitched well in his last 2 starts. We'll see. Maybe he gets lit up today. Yeah, he hasn't. This season, he hasn't been good by any means. But his overall, look at his career numbers: 1.26 WHIP. That's not terrible. He's not a terrible pitcher. He's not. There's worse out there. Thoughts on the Phillies tonight? Sorry, I have no opinion on that. I do like that Phillies team, though. I do like the Phillies. What's the number? Let me take a look at the number. I don't know a lot about Suarez, man, but I like the fact they're getting plus money value. Can't really go wrong with that, right? I don't really. Let me see. Look at the line movement. So we got the public is all over the Phillies, and the line's gone up. That's interesting. I mean, Molly's not anything special. I don't know. I mean, plus money value on the Phillies, you can't really go wrong, but that's a layoff for me. I don't like that line. 7J, you say you like Cobb. How about H. Wood for Tampa Bay? Is he a good pitcher? I know nothing about that guy. 0. I'm not even gonna look. For you, I'll look. No, I don't know anything. I know Cobb because I played him several times last year when he was with Tampa Bay. And then we got Hunter Wood. Oh, you know what it is? I think Hunter Wood. Tampa Bay's doing one of those. Remember now, Tampa Bay's got that weird system where they're starting like a reliever and they'll pitch him like an inning and then they come in with someone else. So it's been really tough to predict with Tampa Bay. Really tough. So this guy's going to come in and pitch an inning and then I don't know who's starting after that. So don't forget that Tampa Bay is really weird this year. They got that weird system going. It seems to be going okay. Greg, big man on campus, doesn't document for public. It's his thing. Yeah, I do. I like to document. Unfortunately, I don't have my paper in front of me today, but I'm very transparent. Anybody who's watched me over the last couple of years, you know I'm all over about the record. I'm all about that. I'm not being disingenuous at all to say I'm up. Yeah, I'm like, actually, I'm like 50-50 right now. It has not been great. Let's continue. Greg Matson, although after talking a lot of stuff about bookies, it sounds like Big Man on Campus and Donnie are going to start their own service soon. Okay. Well, you guys might want to look into that. Oh, gosh. Come on. Oh, I always scroll down too much. Marco, a lot of people are on the Browns plus the points against the Steelers. They will be 1-0 against the spread. Browns might be an awesome against the spread team this year. That's a bold statement with the Browns. We'll see what happens. William, great info. Thank you, William. Thanks for coming in. Anthony, Charles, which sport do you like most? College basketball is which I like college basketball the most because my dad was actually a junior college basketball coach. So I grew up with basketball. I played basketball. I went to college on a baseball scholarship. So but I like basketball the best, actually. For those that know me a little bit, I coach baseball here in Japan. I'm actually probably going to take this year off, though, personally, just to let you guys know. I like college basketball. I really like college basketball. I enjoy that a lot. Gary, what's your picks in Japanese baseball? I just looked at the lines. I just looked at the pitching matchups. I have no idea yet, and this is why I don't do anything about Japanese baseball. I can go over the lines and stuff like that. Excuse me. Um, but I usually don't make my picks until like 5 minutes before the first pitch of the games. They all go off at the same time, which is 6. Well, usually they're pretty consistent about the time frame during the week. They go off at 6 p.m. here. So in Japan, I usually this is how I handicap Japanese baseball. First thing I do is I go to my Sportsbook. I take a screenshot of the lines right now. I've already done that. I do that every single day. The next thing I do is I go look at the pitchers. I know who all the pitchers are. Sometimes I forget their names, but I know if they're good or not. That's just why I just don't know their names as well as I do because I can't read the kanji. But I know the pitchers. I've seen them pitch before. I just forget their names. I know their faces. So the good thing about the websites I use, you can see the pitchers. You see their face, and I'm like, okay, I know that guy's good. Like I know today you have Nomura going for Hiroshima and Weedman's going for Yokohama. Both of them are good pitchers. Weedman pitched really well last year. He's actually a good hitter, which is something I got to consider. Nomura has pitched better recently. Just things I know. Okay, so that's what I do. I screenshot it. Then what I do in Japan is when it gets closer to 6 o'clock and I'm at home. When it gets like 5:30, 5:45, I'll plug into my Sportsbook. I'll sit there and I'll watch the lines. I'll just watch the lines. And I'll sit there, and as the lines are moving, I'll start computing, making decisions in my head, knowing the pitchers that are going, seeing the lines move, and then I'll make a decision. About 5 minutes left, I'll go ahead and I'll put in my play. And I'll usually just play one play, usually just one. And then I'll have dinner with my family, then I'll sit down and I'll watch the game. That's how I do Japanese baseball. I've never told you guys that, but I thought that's important to know. I'm a big line watcher when it comes to Japanese baseball, and I like steam moves. But if it doesn't go in proportion with the pitching matchup, then I'll lay off of it and I'll look for a different play. And there's things I know, like Seibu's the best hitting team in the Pacific League, and the Giants are always overvalued, stuff like that. You just got to know. Okay. So my Japanese baseball picks, again, I can't tell you because I don't know myself until about 5 minutes before they go off, and that's going to be in the middle of the night, America time. There. Gary Avery. A lot of information for you there, buddy. Greg, kind of sucks, but hopefully it's reasonable. He is an NCAA killer, obviously. Who are we referring to? Are we talking about Big Man on Campus and Donnie? Yeah, sometimes when you guys do that, I need a frame of reference of what you were talking about before because I got other comments coming in. But I think, Greg, that's what you were talking about. Mr. Gogster, you bet any Korean baseball? No, but I have a really good friend who's a scout for the Minnesota Twins who played professionally in Korea. Really, really nice guy. Actually, went out to dinner with him a while ago. Mr. Gogster, yeah, buddy. Yoko has some of the best bats in the league. Should be fun. Really like Hiroshima starting five. Yes, and the thing about Yokohama is they're healthy. They haven't been healthy, but now they are. They have some really good hitters in that lineup. Yesterday I had the over with Yokohama. I'll tell you why. So Yokohama played Chunichi yesterday. Both pitchers their numbers were not really in proportion to who they are. Their numbers were good, but they're not really that good at pitchers. The number went from 7 to 8. I jumped all over the over. They were at 9 by the 6th inning. So that was my play yesterday. It's not always that easy, though. I'm about it. Honestly, this is dead true. And I'm a 60% handicapper with Japanese baseball. I do really well with it because it's an obscure sport, so I can exploit it a little bit more than I do. It doesn't mean I win every time because it's 60%, but I'll take it. So I do really well in Japanese baseball. Knock on wood. I've been rolling. I don't want to jinx that. Francisco, is there any interest in American football in Japan, and do you like the Giants under today? I don't know about the Giants under today. I think that line at 8 is just about perfect. There is interest in American football. Actually, it's really popular with Japanese colleges, or not really popular. It's getting more popular. They do have a professional league, but it's kind of under the radar. It's pretty popular. They're big with baseball, of course, is huge, and soccer is really big. Rugby's pretty big. American football, not so much, but it's getting a little bit better. NCAA baseball, is that even a handicap or better? Yeah, sure. You can do that. but it only comes for College World Series. That's the only time NCAA baseball you can do it. So you can't really get into it that much. That's a tough one to bet, I think. Mr. Gogster, Miami first 5 looks like a nice play. Miami bats not bad lately versus Malone. Okay, we'll see. J, can you tell me what you look at when you cap the games? For example, I don't know what empire means. Weather, line movement. What you look at first to start and get to cappy games. Thank you. J, the first thing I look at is the line. Everybody not every, well, I don't want to say everybody. People handicap differently. I don't handicap like Jimmy, Pete, Big Man on Campus, Donnie, whoever else is out there. I don't handicap like them. They don't handicap like me. Everybody has their own way of doing things. I also don't play a lot of plays. First thing I look at is the line. I look for public money and the line movement just to get a frame of reference of what the odds makers are setting into what they think where they're going to get, where they think the public money is going to go. So I look at that first, and then I start digging into the statistics, and I start digging into the pitching matchups, just different things like that. For NBA and college basketball, I'm really big on playing plus money line. I'm looking for upsets. So I'm looking at the line. Then I'm looking at the schedule. I'm looking at how many road trips they've been on. I mean, there's so much, my friend. There's so much. Because this is serious. Because I don't play little money. I play big money as far as, your normal, I don't play $100 per game. That's nothing. I wouldn't even bother with that. I'm much bigger triple digits. And that's not to say I'm some wonder. That's there was a time where I was like $100. There was a time where I was like a $50 player. And that used to be like, holy cow, that's a lot of money. But that was like 10 years ago. And so now I've evolved because I've improved a lot over the last 10 years. So when I play something, man, I play it. I don't mess around. And nothing against anybody who wants to play smaller money and they just like the action, that's fine. But this is serious for me. And so it takes a lot of time. So there's so much I could go over, J. It would just take too long. It would take me an hour to explain my whole handicapping process. And in that, it's in flux where it varies depending on situations. There's so many variables. Ultimately, I got to trust on my brain to process things correctly to make a good pick. Okay. That's an excellent question. One we can all talk about. All right. And everybody's got to bet what they think is comfortable. You should be in proportion to your bankroll, like 1% to 2%. And don't worry about that dopamine fix that you want to get to go ahead and play a game. For me, it's all about having more money in my account than I had last year. That's it. Okay. Great. I love those guys. They are my everyday, so consistent, fun to listen. Donnie is ridiculous at NFL. Cool. Well, Ken, then keep doing it. Yeah, from what I understand, they're both good guys. That's good stuff. And I always scroll way too far down. I appreciate you guys coming in. Really sorry about my scrolling ability here. Okay. What is the easier way to do this? Muhammad, Mr. Gogster, talking to him. Let's continue on. Greg, NCAA baseball doesn't start till February. Okay. Well, it's over now, so I'm not going to really talk about that. You guys are talking about some CFL, I see. Marco, NCAA baseball like WNBA, not really follow. Well, it's WNBA is, man, you can really make money in WNBA. Muhammad, talking to Mr. Gogster. Greg, Boston over seems kind of nice tonight. Okay. 10's a lot, but they can get there. Both pitchers aren't bad. Gary, that would be a good combo. Big Man and Donnie. I could see that going well. Yeah. I think they're nice. I think they complement each other very well. Gibson has been decent of late. Yeah, Kyle's having a much better year than last year. Where did I play college? I played Division I baseball in Northern California. I'll just say that, on scholarship. My brother played in the Phillies organization. He played Double-A. My other brother played college ball. We were a baseball family when I grew up. That was a long time ago. But I do coach baseball in Japan. And here's Marco. Oh my God, you coach baseball in Japan. And you are betting on Japanese baseball. You are the Pete Rose. Well, I'm not coaching professionally. I'm not coaching on a professional team. High school kids. Muhammad, that age. Yeah, but Boston 1-9, deepest lineup aside from maybe the Astros when healthy. Yeah, Boston can hit, man. Those guys can hit. Mr. Gogster, odds portal is good to check. This line movement, okay. It's where I look for line movement. I go with SBR.com. I like Sportsbook Review. I like what they got going on. That's why I work for them. Greg, yeah, his high school team has a big effect on the major league. Yeah, okay, yeah. Anthony, what new changes are going to be happening with your show? We'll talk about that this weekend. Thank you, Anthony. Dodgers, they're pretty, yeah, they are now, especially with Machado. Mr. Gokshar, I want to take the Twins, but I can't because of Boston. All right. Muhammad, I agree. Dodgers drive you nuts. Dodgers are good, man. Sema J. So you cap MLB the same way you cap Japan? No, not at all. Completely different. Completely different. I'm really about the line movements in Japanese baseball. No, I don't. Sema J, great questions today, buddy. Muhammad, at Mr. Gogster. Marco, I think you're talking to somebody else. Mr. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. So I'm going to continue on down. Charles is a whale, the 3-figure whale. I'm definitely not a whale. Whales play between 1,000 and 10,000 per game. I don't play that. I've ventured out into those waters in my career, but it's not comfortable for me. Okay, and we got to wrap this up here pretty quick. But I do. I have a I'm not going to talk about it personally, but I do have a considerable bankroll, and I play pretty well. And at Mr. Gogster, Charles, what are your thoughts on the Red Sox Twins game night? Man, 10's a lot. 10's a lot. Honestly, I got no opinion on that game. Maybe back Gibson on the plus money line. But, it's Boston. They're hard to go against. And finally, yeah, rich history of baseball in my blood. Yeah, I like baseball. All right, let's wrap this up. So, hey, you guys, again, thanks for coming in. We got one play on the card. That's it. We got New York, Pittsburgh. I'm going under the 8. I like Matt's. Pittsburgh, all their statistics go down versus left-handers. Kingham's pitched really well this year, especially at home with that 0.09 whip. It's gone from 8.5 to 8 at a lot of places. I think that line movement's right. So I'm going to go ahead and back the under in what I think is going to be actually a really low-scoring game. So that's it for me. You guys, I'll be back on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to tune in. I definitely want to talk to you guys this weekend, and we'll catch up then. So take care. We'll talk soon. One last time, we got Mets, Pittsburgh, under the 8. All right, I'll see you guys later.